Running our own business isn't easy, and it can be a tough gig for all of us at times, and only other business owners truly understand the challenges that we face. And on Scale Up Radio, we aim to help make things just that little bit easier by interviewing guests who have been where you are now, regardless of where you are on the scale-up journey, and maybe facing some of the challenges that you are facing. And they offer their thoughts and advice on what has worked well for them, as well as what didn't, of course. And we've also combined many of these lessons into a practical scale-up handbook called the Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System. And there's details of this at the end of the episode. So welcome to Scale Up Radio.
So, hello Litu Mohiuddin. Welcome to Scale Up Radio. I'm really excited for this live episode here in your amazing place. So please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi Granger. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming to see us. I'm excited to talk about Memshapes, our journey, and for your audience at Scale Up Radio. I'm Litu Mohiuddin, chef patron of Memshape Lounge, which is a restaurant in Cheltenham on the promenade, and we serve contemporary Indian cuisine. So that's who I am. Brilliant.
Well, it's going to be a very exciting episode because we're going to have afternoon tea together as we explore the journey of your experience to make this amazing establishment. So, when did Memshape Lounge take place? When did you start?
The Memshape Lounge started in 2019, pretty much same time of the year in November. So it wasn't Memshape Lounge back then. It was named as Gin and Tea Bar, which is our speciality. So gin and tea doesn't mean gin and, well, it means gin and tonic. We associated with that, but we took a little spin of it. So we infuse our gin with various teas, herbs, botanicals as a post-distillation process, and it became very popular. So we thought we could open a gin and tea bar, and that was the first in the world. But the name and the brand and the challenges of various things of COVID and the customer expectation from our previous restaurants and the food and drink all got a little bit of mixed up. So the 4 Ps, we didn't do it very nicely. So I thought, it's time to pivot. It's time to do the things we do best. And we focused a lot more into food production and changed the brand to Memshape's Lounge. That means you have a area where our guest comes and enjoy the food and drink. This food is in a restaurant and the drink in the lounge area and the bar area. So that makes it a lovely experience. So it is actually now been sort of how many years? Oh God, 2019 to now today, lost count of the years. But yeah, it's an exciting journey of the changes in between, which is a very big, interesting learning curve.
And did you set out with that image of creating this space and sharing food, or is that something that has evolved? You know, because you went from a G&T bar, and I remember the signs outside when it arrived. You know, to now the lounge and your idea here. You know, what was the evolution of that? Was that something you wanted to achieve, or it's just grew over time?
I guess it grew over time. It was very, very natural and organic, and most importantly, it helped our education in the business. So we knew the business is a live entity, and the customer expectation, their experience, their feedback, as well as the challenges you have. Whereas when you open a bar, which is gin and tea bar, you automatically have your business plan that the ratio of food and the drinks, you're going to be doing it in terms of your turnover. But over the period of the time, when you come and look at those numbers and you see what's happening in Cheltenham and around this area, and in between there was a global pandemic. So all of the variables actually came to in a force for us to change and to adapt and to pivot.
Yeah.
And I think that is a natural journey for any business. If the entrepreneur or the person who are setting it up and they are like sort of open-minded in terms of what comes in there, so naturally evolving, to answer your question in short term. However, the brand didn't change much, so when you pivot, you didn't pivot 100%, you just changed the little structure of your offering and changed. So it was named as Mem Sahib Gin and Tea Bar, and the term Mem Sahib is a very interesting one. It is actually a term given by the Indian subcontinent, I would say, because it's mostly popular everywhere in Indian subcontinent nowadays. And we call a higher caste, especially European women, as a sort of a respect to not madam but Mem Sahib, because we associated their husband with them. So Mem means madam, Sahib means sir, so it's master's wife. So when we wanted to open a sort of a business and a restaurant especially, we wanted to think about, okay, so what is that restaurant going to talk about? What is that relationship they will build with their customer, with their guest, and how they will associate themselves? So a brand, then we have started researching and thinking about how migration changed the cuisine. So that means now I am migrated here from Bangladesh. My cuisine has changed significantly as my pioneers' cuisine has done, and that we called nowadays a British Indian cuisine.
Yeah.
But looking into the past, when British colonized India over 200 years, the women went there with them. When you talk about British Raj, is a form of man, as a masculine identities. We don't talk about women as much as we should. So we then built a connection between Cheltenham and India, and I found there are more than 30 to 40 women. They had connection between Cheltenham and India, and they are actually pioneer in the social reforming as well as the women empowerment. So we identified, shortlisted 5 of them, and we hand sketch with a charcoal their portrait, and just right behind you their portrait on the wall, and we call this as a Mem Sahib's wall. And one of them out of those 5, my favorite is Pundita Ramabai. And this lady taught Sanskrit in Cheltenham Ladies College, and he went back India and then set up a NGO named Mukti Mission, and we still feeding more than 1 million child a day, and still thriving. And so those as the first essence of our brand, as an identity, whether it's a gin and tea bar or whether it's a lounge. So we kept that term. We kept this women empowerment and talking about their amalgamation into the European and Indian cuisine, and my amalgamation of British and Bangladeshi cuisine.
Ah.
So it all mixed together. So going back to the pivot, we had to take all of those into consideration, and the challenges of having a bar, you can't cook lot. So your kitchen was set up serving only sort of a small fried item, etc. When you change it to lounge, your kitchen and your landlord and your council, nothing is in line because they don't know that you're going to have a restaurant. So it's another changes in terms of the legal aspect of it. And that was absolutely a challenging moment for us, because nobody thought we're going to do a restaurant, and having brown people opening up a restaurant, always food order associated with their with their cuisine identity. But we came out from it. That challenge was absolutely beautiful challenge, because now then we set up a kitchen in a way where you don't have exposed fire. So in our kitchen we don't have any exposed fire. So we use different heat sources, various heat sources, different technology as well. We can definitely talk about that in the next few question probably. So yeah, I'm going to hit a pause on that.
Well,
it's quite long answer though.
Wow, very exciting. So give us an understanding, your customer base. So who would come looking for, I love the concept of a lounge rather than a restaurant. Who are your typical sort of customers?
Very exciting, very progressive, sort of bit of nice mix, but the loyal customer base are very matured, over 50s, I think, and the segment is sort of quite diverse as well. So as much as we get the people who are visiting Cheltenham, which is the tourism economy, very little in Cheltenham, but we still get a fair share of it, being on a Michelin guide on TripAdvisor. So people recognize those sort of other platforms to come to the restaurant. So that is one part of it. And then another one is outside of Cheltenham. So if we take that as point zero mentioned lounge and do a 30-mile radius, that's our customer where they come from. But some of them come from Birmingham, Bristol, Bath, because Cheltenham is not us, but Cheltenham known for its culinary, dating back to 1878 when George III came and found the water, and he said the water is cured various disease and everything, and it became a rich people resorts. Since then the innovation is happening in there, so we get various sort of customer outside as well as the local residents, but they are spoiled for choices because there are nearly 300 restaurants in Cheltenham, so they can enjoy and take their time to come back.
Wow. Yes, 300 restaurants. Yeah, but if they keep coming back, then you got something. So that then leads me briefly into my next question. Then is what do you strive to be best at? What is it that that makes you different, that the people keep coming back?
That's a very, very good question. I think the most important thing, if I actually take my customers' feedback and you put it into a spreadsheet and see what keyword they have mentioned on their reviews and talking to us as well, 4 things, and that is for all of the restaurants actually, but for us what we identified is first definitely food, but that is not only thing in there, then the service, because you need a same level of service as food in terms of your experience to be fulfilled. And the third, ambience. Fourth is the location. So we're in Cheltenham. We've got a beautiful Regency building where the restaurant, we designed it in a Victorian style sort of living room, the lounge and bar and everything. So the ambience is beautiful. Then we have the service. Service is absolutely fantastic. The reason is fantastic because our motto is to make all the customer happy before they leave the restaurant. Now, in some cases, small bites, when we serve small bites and if the portion became too much, or the person or the guest already had enough for that evening, but when we see the plate is coming back in the kitchen and nearly 30 to 40% food, sometimes in one dish they haven't eaten sort of 20 to 25 portion of it, so it's a little bit left over. So then we ask question to the front of house: is there any reason? May we know? Because by having that information in the kitchen, we can do 2 things. We can change the dish, we can understand what is happening, and most of the time we found that they are full. They have a lot of food in there because our portion is a bit generous. So this communication and the relationship with the front of house and a back of house, with a beautiful non-hate and not fighting culture in between those houses in a restaurant, because front of house, back of house, always there is some conflict going on. It's as a natural, as a human being, should always do that. But we mitigate that by doing various different things, such as asking questions. So they go back to the customer and ask the question, and then they give an answer, and then we take it on board, and then we work on those as well. And if they say, which happened a couple of times, because none of the chefs are perfect anyway, so we do make mistakes sometimes. He said, no, I didn't like the dish, because it's a personal choice. Then we immediately want to check that out from their bill, because they didn't enjoy that. So that's how service go as far as that label. So we are actually enjoy feeding people, and I think this is our culture and heritage in Bangladesh. We love guests. We love them very, very much, and feed them. We do a lot of hard work to make them happy. They do often get happy, sometimes not, but there you are. So yeah, there's those 4 things is make us difference. Now coming back to the specific product we do, one of them is very, very popular, which you gonna have today with us. An afternoon tea. So it's an Indian themed afternoon tea. Now that again taking back to this Victorian time. Now afternoon tea wasn't only popular in the UK or in Britain, but it became popular in India during the time of British there. So okay, I'm gonna hit a pause on there. We got our first course came. So that would be is a 9. 9
Hello.
is our protege.
Oh.
And he'd like to. Thank you, Nine.
Thank you. So for our audience, so we're having afternoon tea, so we're going to have our first dish, and we're going to talk about this dish and then move back to the conversation.
Good.
So Litu, what do we have in front of us?
Okay, you having vegetable momo is one of very popular Indian street food at the moment. It originated from, I guess, northeast of India. So what we and it actually, the variety of the momo is everywhere. They call it in a various different name. The Bengal we call this pita, but this is actually a momo, and it has stuffed with mushroom, sort of a small cabbage, and some vegetables in there, sweet corn, and the pastry is very thin, like spring roll pastry. Is fried, and underneath you get cabbage bhaji. Now, what is bhaji? Bhaji, just like a stir fry, is a Bengali word. And the specialty of this cabbage is actually word box cabbage. So we are very much into the sustainable cooking. So we get a lot of word box sort of different cabbage, or best before cabbage and all this stuff. And then before we throw it away, we collect those our vegetable supplier and everything, and we make a beautiful bhaji out of that. So yeah, you enjoy that, and let me know how do you feel about it.
Brilliant. So as I tuck into this amazing amazing thing, so tell me, so you set out to create, the G&T bar, but let's go back in your journey. Where did you start from in terms of your career of thinking about food, and that led you to the point of creating this amazing place?
How long you got? It's only 1 hour podcast. Yes, I
5 minutes brief.
5 minutes brief indeed. Great. I guess the journey I started from like when we came in the UK, which is 2005, and I immediately got job in the restaurant industry, because that's one of the quickest way you can get a job. Your food and accommodation is already been taken care of, so the money you are earning is a lot more disposable money, so you can pay to your tuition fees and support families and various things as natural migrant, as an student migrant, they come and they do. I was nothing different on that. And then I saw the industry set up by our pioneers from Bangladesh, named it as an Indian cuisine, which is fine, absolutely, because that paid them the bills, and they were started it long ago when Bangladesh didn't. It was in a country that it was. Oh, yeah. How's Momo?
Well, fabulous, very beautiful crunch, and the cabbage underneath is delightful.
Yeah.
And really delicious. Now, you were explaining to me at one point when we were talking about this is you don't throw anything away.
No. Well, not anything away. We work very, very hard towards the zero waste cooking.
Yeah.
Now,
Brilliant.
having a commercial kitchen where there is lots of rules and regulation involved.
Yeah.
There is a food waste, definitely, but we treat that food waste differently. That means our food waste, our education is there, knowledge is there, how much carbon we emit in a year, we have calculated there as well. So that education knowledge gave us to sort of do something towards a sustainability. Practicing zero waste is the perfect way of describing ourselves, but having a zero waste kitchen is not yet, unfortunately.
An aspiration that you're working towards, though. I can definitely see that. So you came to the UK. Yeah. You got your first jobs. You're working through the industry. Where did the idea of having your own place come from?
I think that was since beginning, because Bangladeshis are very entrepreneur. So they wanted to do business. So it was very early in my childhood, and then when I fall in love with this Indian cuisine and saw the big market it is, the industry it is, set it up nearly £2 billion. Then chicken tikka masala was one of the national dish. Imagine that. So we made that far, and I thought, okay, it's something we need to explore on it. So I never changed the sector. I've always worked in a Indian restaurant, and then moving for fast forward 10 years, got graduated, had a job in a restaurant, still working there, and all of a sudden a gentleman from Cheltenham named Mohammed, he did some consultancy for him, and then he found a premises and he said, would you like to come and have a look? And we came and we saw a small premises in Cheltenham, and I said, okay, we'll take that. And we were very excited to do that because there's something we want to do. So three of us, me, my friend and business partner Russell Mahmood, and my wife and a business partner Reena, three of us, we moved from London, maxed out our credit cards, took a little bit of loan here and there. The gentleman Mohammed, he got the premises, so we didn't need to pay enough money to secure that lease. So that was a massive help. And then we opened up a restaurant, and we named it East India Cafe, because I don't know why the colonialization was into me, because I wouldn't call this as much colonialization because it's very negative nowadays, but we need to share our history to one each other so that we can talk openly. So I took it as a migration change cuisine and culture. That's what is my spin of it. So then I said, okay, why don't I, then I read a book of or watch a series on BBC, etc., the Suitable Boys, and Indian Summer, and all of this, and it took me back to that time as well. So I thought, okay, why don't I research particular that era, which is sort of East India Company to British Raj till 1947. What happened during that time when British were there? Is there any amalgamation happened with that cuisine, like my amalgamation happened, our amalgamation happened in the UK and Europe and other places as well? And I found a beautiful cuisine, and we I think it was a mistake, but we named it as Anglo-Indian cuisine, but term is okay, we just amalgamation, and we opened East India Cafe, not the company, but it took the company in cafe. But where I'm going to find a chef who will understand that era on 200 years and think about the current supply chain in the UK and put a menu together, it was impossible. So my business partner Russell and I, we said, okay, we're gonna go in the kitchen and become a chef. And my wife said, okay, I'm gonna look after the customer, I'm gonna make ready. That became a very lovely, nice team. And we did that 3.5 years to 4 years actually. And at some point I get fed up cooking in the kitchen because that wasn't my career. I never been a commercially trained chef. I've done self-taught chef, and then learning as you go along, and made a significant mistake, served mediocre food to our customers at some point in there. But one best thing we did is open up this place for masterclass. So the guest came, attended masterclass. We went there, we talked to them, we shared our knowledge with them, they shared their knowledge with us. So before you go to masterclass, if you are not a chef, you actually need to do a lot of research. So we find a sweet spot. Russell and I, we are doing sort of masterclass. So the sweet spot where, like, Russell were asking me question, I were asking him questions, we are bouncing back. So that is a very little time for our customer to ask question, but they are getting answer for all of the questions they would have asked.
Yeah.
But they are sharing their knowledge as well. Some of them, they brought so many historic books to us to give it to us. They said, there you go, you take an inspiration from there. And a lot of BBC's MasterChef program and everything helped us and helped me to sort of become a chef who I am today. So that was the East India Cafe. We sold it during the time of COVID because it was too much, and we opened this gin and tea bar, wanted to concentrate more. So here is our main focus in that Memshab Lounge now. And interestingly, and I'm very proud of my team as well as ourselves, like in as a whole, because both of the restaurants actually are on Michelin Guide and won Good Food Award number of times in there. So I think our guests, as well as all of those institutions and accredited places that recognize that, okay, we might doing something in there. Maybe our cream is splitting in a sauce at the beginning of our journey. Maybe this is not perfect, but we started it. We're gonna go and do something with our cooking skills and knowledge. So that's where the Memshab Lounge and the journey for us to be in the hospitality and became in the hospitality. So we really didn't want to come to hospitality to open a restaurant at the very beginning, because we saw there is a lot of hard work. It doesn't make as much money as you need it to be, but passion and a practice and everything made us to do that. And now I think we are thoroughly enjoying it, because the future, we look at it, is very interesting. I think we can make a lot of impact from being in this industry to the people, the planet, and everything as well. So that I think that's the most the interesting thing chefs and a restaurant want to feed their guests, to make an impact, and we are practicing to be part of the journey.
Wow, absolutely amazing. So, restaurant, lounge, amazing. It's like any other business, so let's talk about, a bit business and the focus of business and what you work on. So, staff, always difficult to find. Sometimes we triple on them. What's gone right, what's not gone right for you in finding and onboarding staff? And
is the hospitality. In the hospitality, the retention rate of staffs are sort of very, very low, I would think, and I experienced that as well. But that comes from our experience working in various restaurants, knowing what not to do. In our kitchen, we do not have a chef or an assistant chefs or cooks who are trained to become a chefs. Everyone who are in our kitchen started from the ground zero and learned the way up. And then this taught us very early stage, because we are self-taught. So this taught us is growing with other people, learning with other people, sharing with others as well. And some of them, they left, they found a better job. And that is the most happiness we get out of it. Because you came here as a kitchen porter and you became a chef de partie. Now you took a job as a sous chef somewhere. So your career actually has changed in 2.5 years to 3 years of time. And that gives you massive bump of your sort of wages, salary, whatever you.
Yeah.
Yes. So all of our thank you.
Thank you.
So all of our chefs are homegrown. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore the retention rate is very higher because they got used to and they're empowered. And the challenges are there, but still they're enjoying the challenges in the kitchen.
Yes.
Because not being in the kitchen. But sometimes we all get sort of tired and frustrated with hard work.
And I agree. I think one of the most important aspects of any business owner and business people is their people. And the most powerful phrase that I ever came across is grow your people. And you've just used that beautifully. And you even use that phrase. We're here to grow our people. They're on a journey with us. They may not stay 20 years, they may only stay 2 years, but in those 2 years, if we grow and develop them, then actually we get that reward back as business owners when we see people do amazing things and move on and achieve. And I think that's really powerful, and that's come across beautifully. Thank you, Litu.
Pleasure of mine. And I guess this is what we enjoy most, because again, when you were self-taught, then you really wanted to share your knowledge. You really wanted to do that because that's the collective wisdom. And do you know, when you learn more with your students, then you go and sit in a class and learning from there. So it's actually, that's a very, very exciting and enjoyment things to do. And in terms of a front of house, students, we are in Cheltenham. There are a lot of students coming there. They have a limitation of working 20 hours, so we get a lot of them to work on the rotation basis. My wife is a maitre d', so she manages the front of house, talk to the guest, and come back and give me a feedback even when I'm at home. So I'm actually working every time. And there are some people we recruited recently, skilled people who are in a work permit, so that gets a lot more commitment from them, a longer commitment, and they would like to grow as well with us long term. So that put my mind into a piece, so I can do something else and leaving them the business in their hand. So the stuff, people are most important thing. Before I go to the next thing what I learned, why don't you enjoy the...
Yes, so please, the second dish has arrived of afternoon tea, so please describe what we have and what it is.
So second dish is turmeric matcha sorbet. So this sorbet, and we got some 3 berries. So those berries are frozen because is a word box again. So before they go throw it away, they washed it, cleaned it, and freeze it, and then we buy those frozen cheap, very cheap. And those sort of mixed berries, there is no sort of there, and we blend those berries with various things and we make a chutney, and we give a pup rice on there as well, which is a very interesting delicacy for Bangladesh. The pup rice give a crunch. Sorbet with the pup rice, you will find a little bit of chili coming to your palate at the end of your palate. This is Barsoy chili with the sorbet, so that gives a very balance of that. And the reason for the second dish is to clean your palate for what coming next. So when you go an afternoon tea, in my experience in English afternoon tea, you do most of the time wait for some time before the afternoon tea tray comes to you. But what we do is again giving a learning from it. So you said, okay, the afternoon tea receipt is piling up in our kitchen, and we get the new people, they get stressed very quickly when you see 10 KOT with the receipts in the kitchen. So what we did, as soon as the receipts came, we give them a small nibbles. So you actually, now the customer had something, or I must say guest, because we don't believe in a customer. So the guest had something already, and we don't have much pressure in the kitchen, so we can prepare food in our peace and lovely, and then serve it as you go along. So it's been spread across. So first you get a nibble, a small bite, so you call it nasta, Nasta means sort of bites in between afternoon and evening, and then or is Mumbai, and then you get your palate cleanser, followed by you will get your afternoon tea tray.
Wow. So we've talked about people and the power of growing people, and I think that's so important.
One point, if I may. So I learned when I was working in the Indian restaurants, and I shared that passage with the owner as well. It says 5:50 ratio. So a restaurant owner who, if he doesn't work in the restaurant and he's actually a businessman, other than working with the team, he can't look after the customers sitting at home or remotely. But 50 of customer, if he still works here or she works here, they can't look after their customer at all. All of them as much as they want. But what they can do, they can look after 5 of their employees better, and 5 employees or waiter and waitress or the chefs then can look after 50 customers better. So it's a 5:50 ratio. If you look after 5 of your people, they will look after 50 of your guests. So that works always in the hospitals. Whenever you go to sort of any hospitality, any restaurants, if you see this is a brand, has few of them here and there, you see the service standards gradually decreases, or some of them have a good standard as well. Because there's not a personal touch in there.
Yes.
So looking after people, you need a personal touch. If you grow too fast and too quick without looking after your people, it's bound to fail, I guess.
Yeah, so and we talk about the ratio, the magic ratio, around about 6 people in a team. You know, looking after a team in a business as you're growing, about sort of 6 people is the sort of maximum. You can just stretch maybe 7 to 8, but beyond there it's impossible. You cannot get around that number of people to make them feel part of the team, feel valued, feel them focused, and give them the support that they need, because they are the people that look after your customers. And that's the most important thing.
And that's where the hierarchy comes in. So
absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
And we talk about the scale-up journey,
okay.
and the scale-up journey has stability pillars in it, and those pillars are around team sizes. So you can look after one team, but once you get to about 7 or 8 people, 9, you can't look after. So you get instability, and lots of things start going wrong. So that's where you need to recruit. So the next level is 2 teams around sort of 12 people. And then beyond there, you've got 2025, which is 4 teams. And if you don't have people looking after those teams, that's where you get the instability. So that ratio of 1 to 5, brilliant. Some fantastic.
That is my hypothesis. I think you work better. There you are.
Yeah, there we go. Some fantastic advice. Another thing that's really important within Thing, you've sort of touched on that, but the culture. The culture is based around your image, your business partner's images, what you want to achieve. But how do you keep the culture right as you grow, as you recruit people? What is your thinking? What's your plans around that?
Yeah, I guess it takes sort of constant effort to actually train people, and then sharing the culture or the things we believe or ethics we believe in the business. So for us, we have employee handbook, but how many people read employee's handbook from page 1 to page last?
Very true.
Okay. So, but we still have that, and we share with them. Another way of doing that is every Saturday, for example, every Saturday they get to sit down and have a drink and some food. Every Sunday they get food in there as well. And most of the time when they work, they get food and sit down all together and talk about it, what happened. And they enjoy talking about it, that table, that food, that things. Okay, so that is one way to do that. Another one would be respecting them. So is it okay? I trained you with a good culture. You have a standardization which you follow. You created the recipe, you know where the innovation in there and how you made the changes. That is the new person we recruited. Train that person exactly the way you were trained. So we handed over them to train, and they shared their knowledge. And when they shared their knowledge, we took some of their experience and looking outside of the box on board. And we empowered them and said, okay, you have done that, you have done this, thank you very much. That's one way to do that. Sometimes we go to sort of, in order to having that a nice culture in there, is we try to eradicate all the conflicts that would occur otherwise. Thank you, Nai.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, in a back of house, when I work in a back of house, so my understanding is from back of house now. So if I press a bell, someone is coming in the kitchen. And during the busy time, they are busy probably, and I ask them, can I get a coffee please? Okay, they would love to give it to me, as we love to give it to them, the food and everything as well. But we need to understand that, okay, how many times, if I am asking and my colleague are asking, nearly 10 times people are asking something from the front of house and front of house asking something from the back of house. And that every single counts. It doesn't work. Nearly an hour we are wasting during the service time, and people are getting annoyed because people are asking things to on each other. How can we be self-dependent in there? So in the kitchen, we have some soft drinks, some juice, some coffee station, so you don't get to the bar or the front of house involved in this. Can front of house have some cakes, some biscuits, some donuts, so when they are actually hungry and kitchen is busy, cannot produce the food immediately, they can still have something in there. So those are the very small things we identified, and we act on it straightway. And there is no list of things that I can give it to you, someone to follow. It's just being able to be open-minded and listen to the other people and try to. I can say this nicely, but sometimes when I practice, it doesn't work either as well. But we learn from it.
And that's a brilliant example of actually, in frustrations of the process is the chance of innovation. Within any business, there are the processes that happen. You were talking about the processes of the interaction between the front of house and the back of house. And when the frustrations happen, that's the point to actually say, how can we fix this? I call it fix what bugs you. Where other businesses or other people would go, I've got frustrations, and so-and-so didn't do this and so-and-so didn't do that. But actually, it's the frustrations that drive innovation in processes, innovations in activity. So you've just described exactly that. That's awesome.
Well, absolutely. But my description is what we try to practice. It never. If someone thinks that, okay, I'm going to get this practice into and get it 100% problem solved and have a beautiful working culture, I guess as soon as they started doing that, they will find a different challenges coming in there as well.
Absolutely.
So it's all about being open-minded and see how you are allowed. I am allowed to get frustrated. I work in a kitchen. But I do it afterwards is the most important thing.
Absolutely, and the realization that a culture evolves, and it's a sum of the people. It's evolving with the processes and the systems. When we think that it's one and done, that's when we fail. And it's that evolution that's so important. So, wow, fantastic. A really important aspect of any business, Litu, is cash. Yeah, cash is king. It keeps the business oiled. It keeps it going. So, what have you learnt over the years in the restaurant trade? How do you manage cash and make sure that everything's good?
Oh, it's a challenge. It's absolutely challenge, especially in hospitality. I don't actually know, because I'm still we are trying to figure it out, how we manage that cash now and how we get sort of the cash flow problem solved. Because I remember having a lunch with my mentor in one of the very big restaurant in Mayfair, and the owner came to my mentor because they know on each other, and they are actually talking about the cash problem. Now, it's not SME, it's the big businesses also get there. So I guess everyone should learn as they go along. But in terms of the cash issue, some of the payments you need to build a relation with your, first of all, the people who you need to pay them. That's number one. But maybe the corporation would not going to listen to you. They will never definitely ask you directly. But if sometime, if you are, or if I, what I do, if I'm late a couple of days, I pick up a phone and speak to my vegetable supplier, fish supplier, say, look, the cash is a little bit of issue for this month or this week. I'm going to do it that. So they are happy with that. So there's one way to do that. Another definitely is a diversification, where you use so you calculate your per square foot turnover. For us in a hospitality, what we do, we work all day long only to serve 2 hours to 3 hours window. So that is our trading time. Can we do a trading differently? Yes. You go to your another platform nowadays, which is the online delivery marketplace. So you can take advantage from there. And then another would be, okay, so if someone is in the kitchen, someone is in the bar, they automatically easily can produce something and put it in a bottle. Something you have just right behind you, our gift hamper, our gin, our rum, all of this in a bottle, so people can buy that. So that increase the cash flow as well. Various other different type of sort of product, not depending on one particular product. So I could have only opened this restaurant for afternoon tea because this is the popular one, but we don't do that. We have 5-6 of them, so there is a mix. So you got a supper club, and when I see the Thursday, we only serve 5 to 10 customers. And I said, okay, can we actually increase the trade on Thursday? How can we do that? And being in Cheltenham is a challenge. And being in a lower ground floor is still higher challenge. So what I think is, well, we then come up with an idea of doing a supper club. And that supper clubs became very popular now. We do masterclass as well, infusion masterclass, cookery masterclass. So actually, is getting at a point where becoming jack of all trade in hospitality. But I guess this is the time where we then put all of those product and service and see which one working better, and then now we have an opportunity to filter it. If we didn't have all of those product and service, we didn't know which one would work. So now we are filtering. In 2024, we'll limit that offering, diversification, and then do something in a completely different way where the cash will generate via one line, taking that e-commerce advantage from there.
Yeah.
Gift voucher is a very interesting option. There are a lot of restaurants they do, but sometimes we need to think about a little bit innovative way. Our gift voucher is very interesting, wax seal, ambush, etc. So that creates an interest for them to do that. So that's the future selves. And whenever we an experience we like to share. So during COVID, but we thought, okay, there is a big problem with the cash because we don't have any money, and all of this happening is from the government. Thank you. So we did a crowdfunding campaign, and the crowdfunding campaign, we named it as pay now, buy later. It's not buy now, pay later. It's pay now and buy later. And we sent an email, newsletter to our guests and everything. And they said, oh yes, they're not surviving. They're giving me a good deal, sweeten up the deal, discounted and everything. I can actually, yes, spend some money and having a confidence that they're not going to close down. So they get survived. I buy it in a discounted price and I take advantage whenever they are open or take this point. And we raised nearly £12,000. So there you are. There's another way of improving the cash flow, going to your loyal customer and talking about what the challenges you are facing, but not actually asking for an
Thank you.
as a loan, but it actually just making an associated with the business. So it's from our experience that's, I think, worked better for us over the period of time, but still we are a very young restaurant. 3 years, 2 years you need to take it out because of the COVID. Yeah. So 3 years of trading, in between we change our brand. So many things didn't work out. But over the period of the time, it's definitely going to be the cash sufficient of business. The cash flow would be absolutely perfect to sort of look after the stakeholders.
Brilliant. So, talk to me about some of the ideas you've talked about. Reducing your carbon footprint. You've talked about not using open flame, I believe, in terms. So you're innovating in the kitchen. You're innovating in the delivery.
Yes.
Give our audience some ideas of some of the things you're doing, you're planning to do, you're thinking about.
For this hospitality industry, especially in the kitchen, I'm gonna hit a pause on there. Why don't I explain the food just you received? So as you're going to have your food, and I'm gonna talk about that.
Yes, please do.
So this is our afternoon tea tray. So we bought some Barf's and we thought we were going to use that as an afternoon tea tray. So you got 6 small bites in there, and interestingly, we would recommend you start it from the middle tray and then go down and then go up and then mix and match as you go. So in the middle one you got chicken samosa with some salad and some tamarind infused cumin. And on the side you got the gugnisola. Gugnisola is recently I tested on my travel to Bangladesh in my town, in my city, and still fall in love with that. So we made a little bit of change on there. Got a garnish with 3 sauce, green chutney as well as raita. Followed by we have guinea fowl tikka, and then on the side we have salmon. Salmon cooked in sort of makhani sauce, so very diced side of salmon. And the speciality of those salmon is they call these fishmonger mishaps. That means when you cut that salmon, make a fillet for big restaurant, nice restaurant, fine dining they call it, and I do the sign of 2-finger fine dining because I don't believe that sort of fine dining sort of theory. So when they do that, there is some small trimmings and they stuff on the side and they froze it, and I buy those sort of things to make this magic. On the top rack you have gulab jamun cheesecake. So gulab jamun is sort of a small dumplings when you get in Indian restaurants. So we deconstruct it, put some apricot, and I made this and balance it up. On the side you get some flatbread. We call this paratha. We got some cumin, coriander ghee on the top garnished. So that's all yours. Enjoy. And coming back to your question again, Vsauce. The first challenges was when we had this as a gin and tea bar. So coming back to that story, so we thought, okay, what changes we can make in the kitchen to produce food which is definitely not going to have that flamboyant food smell of sort of cooking in various herbs and spices. Then we started to thinking about, okay, what sort of heat sources we have that creates those changes, those smells and everything. So dry heat is associated mostly with an open fire with the smells and everything, but the smell is not issue in there because dry heat source is expensive, and that comes from open fire, oven, microwave, various things. Even double fat fryer is a dry heat source as well, so it comes there. How about pressure cooking? Pressure cooking is a technology, and the idea has been invented during the industrial revolution time, and after that it just gone a little down on the graph of the popularity, but it's actually picking up. So we then bought some of the pressure cooker, some instant pot, which has a lot of other features on there as well. And then we started cooking with it. So 2 things happened by cooking with it. One, the pressure cooked it and created a beautiful moisture in there, so the food became absolutely lovely, flavorsome. And it uses very low energy, very, very less energy actually to produce the amount of food I would have spent sort of a lot of money in using the open fire or different heat sources. So those changes on there. I recently got another another technology in there, which is, do you believe, air fryer? So I wanted to really learn how air fryer can play a vital role in a commercial kitchen. Can I do something with it? So most of the salmon, most of the things we have, kebab and sort of fish and other stuff, we do use our air fryer, and works absolutely perfectly better and consistent every single time. Because now, as you know, the people we have in the kitchen are mostly homegrown. So because of the homegrown and didn't have that culinary education from a college, they would need to have a simplified standard procedure, such as 3 minutes, cheese on the top, put it in there, take it out. So that's another. And then water bath, there's another interesting technology that's for sous vide, that's working very, very well. So some of the things we can cook and control beautifully in there. So that's an interesting. I was very much interested to get one of the combination oven, which is dry and wet heat mixed together, but it didn't work in the kitchen. As in, the structure of the kitchen is wasn't set as such. But I look at an interesting way to reduce carbon, as well as have a sustainable kitchen, is to follow the 3P principle, we call it. Is procurement. So you what you buy, first of all,
Yep.
for your groceries and for your supplies, and then preparation, and then followed by preservation. So these 3, if it's intelligently done, then it's absolutely funny. Would you believe our kitchen buys some of the items in a very competitive price from Tesco, from superstores? Yes, very, very, and the quality sometimes is absolutely beautiful than my fish supplier, my vegetable supplier. Well, not the fish supplier, but vegetable supplier mainly. So those superstores are something we shouldn't shy away, because they have a lot of great offers sometimes as well. So that's another way, and they actually do calculate their carbon better than the other businesses, and they do put so much into the local community at the same time. So I didn't get paid by them from them to talk about that, but this is an interesting way you could definitely look into the less carbon footprint stuff as well. And in terms of another technology we use is dehydrator. So you dehydrate various type of fruits. So you need to sort of have one, because most of them you see some of the apples, pears, and everything is got some fungi or some stuff on the side. Is just getting rotten and everything. So you need to treat them. The best way to do that would be to making dehydrating. Right, so, and that you can use it for a garnish, if you like to, or eat it as you go along as a snacks. And in terms of mainly, if you want to reduce carbon in a hospitality, probably we'll stop eating animals. That's one of the key to do that. So we emit nearly 70 kilo ton of equivalent 70 kiloton of metric ton of carbon a year. And if I stop buying beef, which is only one item on our menu, I would automatically reduce 20 megaton of carbon a year by doing that. And another zero, we have underfloor heating, and this underfloor heating is interesting as well. So it doesn't use a lot of the radiation, not radiation, the radiators sort of heat. This is electric or gas heating there, but other than it's heated by water, so it's lots less energy, takes less energy, and very efficient as well. Yeah, there's a lot of feeding.
And in terms of the, you talked about reducing the amount of food you throw away.
Yeah.
And using food that other people would throw away.
Yeah.
Give us some examples of that type of thinking as well.
Well, fantastic. So the very interesting example would be, so you do as our first course for our supper club, we give them a quiz, and he said, there you go, I'm serving you a soup, but the soup is made of fish, but you need to say which part of the fish and what fish is there. And then when I come back, then a lot of people say, okay, skin, bones, tails, etc. No one said heads at all. Now, imagine in the UK how many fish heads gone thrown away because of the fish and chips and the salmon and cod and haddock and all the rest of it. We didn't make fish and chips with the salmon, but there are a lot of fish, salmon used in restaurants and all the places and commercially. So there are plenty of it. And in my culture, where I come from, in Bangladesh, we don't throw anything away. Our whole kitchen, our culture, our cuisine is one of the zero waste cuisine in the world, because we have very little, so you have to make out of everything on there. So what we make with it, we call it muri gonto. So muri means head, gonto is a broth. So a broth, you can make it using your fish head and add a little bit of moog lentils in it, and then add some herbs and spices and everything. And what we do with that, we pressure cooked it. And when we pressure cooked, then all of the heads and bones and everything cooked beautifully. Then if you blend it and sieve it through, you get very creamy, lovely texture of soup, which is full of omega-3, and which you definitely need to help our brain to do that. And if you eat those, then you have having your disease in the longer time, older life, with dementia and all this stuff, it's reduced gradually. So this is one of the dishes we do, using fish head, using a broth on it. And there are many various other dishes we do. The legs and bones of cows, dairy cow. So in the UK, we throw the dairy cow. It's not throw the dairy cow. We carve the dairy cow, and you can use dairy cow much. So that's one of the things we could use as a meat. Then using their heads and bones and make a halim out of it. Halim is a dish. It has a long story, but it's a very common in Indian subcontinent. So that is a beautiful way to do that. It's a full nutritional dish. You can enjoy knowing that this animal is being looked after, respected, and used all of his parts to make a meal.
Wow. While you've been describing those amazing ways of cooking, amazing ways of reusing all the parts of the animal, I've just had a most amazing afternoon tea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was amazing, Litu. Fantastic flavours and beautiful, the way that it's presented and the way that it just, each part cleanses the next and adds on to the flavour as you eat it. It was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. So, we're going to meet again in 5 years' time, where we'll sit and have an amazing green tea, rather than coffee, I normally say, but this is a beautiful tea. And we're going to look back over the last 5 years. Yeah. So what's going to have happened in the next 5 years for the next 5 years to be amazing, both professionally and personally for you, Litu?
Wow, I don't know how many times I have answered this question, and how many things I answered didn't work over the period of the time. So I don't know. I'm in my 40s and I started having sort of a thought of a lot more giving back. And recently went to Oxford and studied food and feasting through the ages, and stayed in a Christchurch and had a beautiful time there, met so many people, and that changes my my 5 years plan as well as my long-term plan. So the 5 years plan I had previously was probably associated with super yachts and private jet, but this 5 year the next 5 years plan, I guess, is associated with lot more how many people I will be teaching them to cook and to know what food is and to be associated with food, because I also have been reading a book named Citopia. It's a Greek word, and the title of this book is How Food Can Save the World by Caroline Steele. And that changed my mind completely, and the way I look at the food and the way I look at how food should be served and how food and cuisine and culture we need to know. And working in a kitchen is a very, very hard work. So my next 5 years plan would be throughout 2024. I would like to travel around the world to learn the cuisine and culture from various, not the geography, but various group, various race, various cuisine and culture, as I said, yes. So that's, and I'm going to document it, that, and I'm going to write about it, and I'm going to document it not as a blog or making monetize that from YouTube. That is not my idea. It's just having my knowledge as well, because I'm a self-taught chef. So I thought at some point when I'm in the kitchen and see all of the challenges in there, so I thought I reach the limit of my challenges. I need to go and find a bit more. And I will be working throughout my travel. I will be working in various charities, various big restaurants as a resident chef. Some of the charities or some of the things I'm going to be doing it completely for just to learn from it and sharing the knowledge from there as well. So when I come back, this business will be managed by the team at the moment in there. So when I come back, I will be sort of going to do 5 virtual brands and taking the advantage of the delivery marketplace. And those 5 virtual brands, one of them would be your beautiful afternoon tea. So the people can order an afternoon tea in a short period of time. And I'm going to definitely take the advantage of the ghost kitchen. So nobody knows where the front of house is. So it's going to be completely back of house, delivery model, and then end customer goes in there. That's the route would be. And by doing that, I will be preparing bulk. So I'm going to be reducing the cost significantly of my cost of sales, means the production cost. I'm going to be using those salmon heads and cod heads and producing those fish broths so I can give it to somebody who is needed a soup in a day and have some. And it's going to be a beautiful way to do that. I have a brand name in my mind named Karma Curry. So the Karma Curry would be spelled as a K. So Karma Curry. And that means you buy one, give one. So you buy a takeaway, I give back one to the school children in the UK or anything. So that the social impact would be associated with that. And there are 2 others virtual brand would be in there, and I guess I wanted to keep that open because by the time I come back travel, I probably have to do something different cuisine. But the reason I wanted to do this virtual brand, because it has a plan to expand globally. And if I do expand globally, then using the nose to tail or root to stem of very different types of animals and vegetables and all the things, I could make bigger impact than having a restaurant itself where I only buy 10 salmon heads a week or probably. But when I have that global virtual brand with the ghost kitchen and the delivery model associated with that, probably I'll be buying thousands of fish heads in a day to be produced in a commercial kitchen. So that's one way to look into that. And then that would take some time, but in the meantime I would definitely like to go back to the university again because I thoroughly enjoyed Oxford, and I think there is a course I'm going to be doing it of sustainable cooking in Cambridge. So that would give me a lot more idea of that as well. And once that done, probably I would need, I would assess myself by other people or chefs during that time, that whether I need a diploma in the culinary or not. So if I get a diploma, then all of these tick marks, now I became I wanted to become an advocate chef who becomes an advocate of zero waste cooking and pass that message to others, and became a guest lecturer from various institutions around the world. So that's what my long-term plan. So it's not super years anymore. It's a lot more giving back, and not so much of making profit. Oh no, profit is good. Profit making is profit good, but not so much profit for making yourself, but make the profit for the society. I think that's what I'm leaning towards. A lot more social business in the future. Sort of things.
Wow, Litu, what a fantastic conversation that we've had over afternoon tea. You know, that start with a G&T bar. I love the idea of the evolution from the G&T bar to Mente Lounge, the way that you use evolution in your thinking and idea creation, and the step-by-step improvements, how you've taken those beautiful ideas, you know, what does Mente mean, and you've got the 5 amazing women on your wall that really embodies that idea and that structure. I love the way that you really think about the food, the service, the ambience, the location, but you build on feedback, and feedback's so important in any business. But you go for that feedback, you get it live from your customers, you get that understanding and how to evolve, and that's absolutely beautiful. I really like that. And you know, from your start of you know, building first restaurant, the East Indian Cafe, how you've then evolved and taken those ideas forward. And I love you have that beautiful image of people are with you for a part of their journey of their life. So grow them, develop them, and that's so important. You gave us the 5-to-1 ratio. Wow, yes, absolutely. Yeah, very important. Never go beyond the 5-to-1 ratio. But that idea of, you know, a business needs to make money, so you're constantly experimenting with different ideas to improve the output per unit space, as you talked about here, and constantly doing that innovation of product, how you've done that, but the innovation in the kitchen, the idea around, you know, reducing the carbon footprint, reusing those parts that people would normally throw away, reducing the energy consumption in the kitchen, is absolutely fantastic. And the 3 Ps, procurement, preparation and preservation, good ideas to really think about how do you reduce your carbon footprint. So you know, fantastic 5-year plan. I really look forward to sitting with you in 5 years and seeing where you've got your amazing journey around the world to come, which you'll bring back and change, because you want to make that big impact. And that's what I've noticed through this entire conversation. You've constantly increased your vision of what you want to do, because you want to make an impact. You want people to really experience something special. And our afternoon tea here today has been absolutely delicious. It has been special. It's been a fantastic conversation. So thank you so much for this session. So we always finish off with a quick fire round. So if you were to go back to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself?
What advice would I give us? I don't know, a lot of advice. I think I'm going to write a book about it. A lot of advice. But most importantly, I think, spend a lot more time with your family, and your neighbors and your friends and everything, because you wouldn't get that much when you migrate to somewhere else, when you go to somewhere else, and you miss that.
Any books you recommend to our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. Seatopia, which is by Caroline Steele. The title of the book is How Food Can Save the World. It will open up everybody's eyes. Actually, it's not for the chefs, it's for all the people. And most definitely, I think I'd like to recommend another book, which is our cookbook, which is Memshab Lounge, and we call it Small Bites and Celebration, and the lovely recipes in there. Sells £35, but if you buy one, you get a voucher for afternoon tea as well, so we wanted to bring you back. So that's interesting. So it's on our website named memshablounge.com. So Memshab Lounge Cookbook, Google it, you will find it.
Well, thank you. Brilliant. Podcasts. Do you listen to any podcasts? Any you recommend?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Pretty much everything associated with food. So, I know BBC Radio 4 mainly. The Food Stable, then the J. Reiner, another one where he travels and goes and to meet the various delegates and talk about the food and do that. And Zero Waste Cuisine as well. Some of them, and mostly if you go to BBC Radio 4 food program, that's take away a lot of your time, and that's very interesting to do that.
On your mobile phone, any apps that you really add benefit to you that you like using all the time?
I guess all of them nowadays. Maybe the banking app is very interesting to keep an eye on, and the TripAdvisor, Google's, all of the Google's app is very interesting. And nowadays I can't actually, you see, the AI app is absolutely fantastic. Now I put a couple of commands and I say, suggest me a masala jin recipe, and the recipe they came up, I was surprised. I said, how do you know my recipe? Because it's a secret. So yes, there is some Google AI app where you can do some terms and condition copywriting, simpler things, finding a recipe quicker. So that helps. So that's getting a lot more attention nowadays.
Brilliant. My favourite question of all: who's had the most influence on you as a business leader?
Who has influenced me as a business leader? I don't know. I haven't thought about it. But my mom definitely, because whether she's a businesswoman or not a homemaker or housewife, she had her job, and she inspired me to do something different every single time. But in terms of inspiration, saving money from her, looking after people from her, growing vegetable and selling it from her as well. So it's very early days of those sort of understanding. But she's not like you call it as a successful businessman, but success is as a money. No, that's not. But she has a lot of knowledge to share with others and education as well. So yeah.
What's your most successful marketing tactic?
Giving back to the customer. So once you come here and you dine with us, as soon as you finish, we will come to you and we'll give you 50 ml of your small apothecary miniature bottle of infused masala gin or masala ram for you to take it home, generally as your nightcap. And that's a very interesting psychological impact on that, because once you finish your food, taste is memory, visiting is a memory, everything is memory. So if you can tinkle that, and if you leave this bottle because it's nice somewhere, at some point you will think about that. Okay. And most important, sharing the journey of the establishment and the people, not how much discount we're gonna get, but I went to this place and I studied that and I completed this course, we got that, this. So it's being associated and thinking about them, they are part of the group or part of the business and empowered. So giving back is the most important one, I think, other than giving back to those big corporations who will charge you a lot of money for doing the advertisement. So you rather give back. And it's a slow growth, organic growth, but it works and sustainable as well.
And finally, Litu, how can people get hold of you?
On our website, there is a contact us form. So our website is memsahiblounge.com. So I say MEMSAHIB. You're going to be putting a link underneath anyway. Yep. So memsahiblounge.com. The contact us form, there is a write down there, and on the drop down button where you're going to select the reason you are getting in touch. They should something else or contact with the kitchen or shape, etc. And it will automatically come to me, and I will respond. I'm just on emails that way. And people can also email me on hello@memsahiblounge.com, or you can call me on the business number. But I deleted the LinkedIn app recently because I don't like the social media as much as I used to. But LinkedIn is another way, which is Litu Mohiuddin, and get connected, and I will be reaching out.
Well, Litu, thank you so much for an amazing conversation today. It's been a delight and a pleasure to eat.
Ranjit, it's been a pleasure too. Thank you so very much.
I hope you enjoyed that discussion, and if you're building and scaling your own business, you might well be interested in our book, The Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a practical handbook around scaling a business in a structured way. And you can order a copy on all your favorite online retailers, including an audio version, or you can find it and other supporting resources on our website, www.esusgroup.co.uk. That's esusgroup.co.uk, which is esusgroup.co.uk.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.